Hey gang, Una of Little O Nutrition coming at you with another Monday Moan. And this week, what I want to talk about is dairy. It seems to me like all the chat about dairy at the moment is negative, and it's full of scaremongering language and basically just a lot of negativity. And I guess this is coming about mostly in line with the rise of veganism and the rise of people opting for animal-free diets. But I have a big problem with this, and I want to tell you why. First of all, let me just say, milk and dairy products are not full of pus of any kind, and that, dairy standards are pretty high in the EU, so it's not something that you need to worry about. I also want to say dairy does not cause any diseases, and it definitely doesn't clog your arteries or do any other weird stuff, like doesn't leach calcium from your bones. I don't know where these myths come from, to be honest, but they're not true, and that's all you need to know. Let's move on from that. I absolutely support anyone choosing to opt out of consuming animal products, and that includes dairy. If you want to do that for ethical reasons or environmental reasons, that's absolutely fine. Equally, if you want to include those things in your diet, that's absolutely fine. And whichever one you choose is up to you. And frankly, I think it has nothing to do with anyone else, including me. But what I do have a problem with is people forcing their view and making up lies to defend that view, and scaring people to encourage them to follow your point of view. Because that's what seems to be happening to me, from my point of view, with dairy. So, like I say, people are choosing to go dairy-free because of their views on animal ethics and animal welfare and environment and whatever else, and that's grand. You do you, I'm here for it. But you have to remember that people who make that decision are generally, most people who are able to make that decision are in a place of privilege where they have alternatives available. They have the financial means to buy those and to source them. And they have sufficient education and skills and equipment to make that transition in their lifestyle. And that's great. But we have to remember that we all have different privileges, and our privileges are not universal. So while you might have the money and the time and the equipment, and you might have a Waitrose or an M&S down the road from you, other people don't have that, and other people are relying on, their local corner shop for their food, or they're relying on Aldi or Lidl for their food, or they only have 20 quid to spend on their food shop for the week. And when you consider that, actually dairy is a really helpful food. So like milk, cheese, yogurts your basic versions tend to be very affordable. They're available in basically every single shop, supermarket, corner shop, it doesn't matter, it's available everywhere. And they're very nutritionally dense. So when I say nutritionally dense, I mean that, in a glass of milk, you're getting a huge range of nutrients. And that's really important, particularly for people who have poor access, for whatever reason, to a range of other nutrient-dense foods. So, milk contains so many vitamins and minerals that we need day to day, and a lot of milks are fortified now, you can get your super milk, but basically you're getting your fat, you're getting your protein, you're getting some vitamin D, some B12, plus calcium, plus sometimes iron if it's added in. And that means that milk and dairy in general is really beneficial to most of our population. Whether you agree with the ethics behind it or how it's produced, that's not my argument to have, because that's not my area of expertise. But when we look at it from a nutritional standpoint and from a health in general standpoint, it's really unfair, I think, to say and to make the assumption that everyone should and can opt for dairy-free and dairy alternatives, because we don't know everyone's situation. And if you can buy a carton of milk for €1 or €2, then you should do that. And if you and your family enjoy milk and are able to include that in your diet, then do that. And if you choose to opt for a dairy alternative, or a nut milk, whatever, that's fine if that's what you and your family prefer, and if you have the means to do that. All I'm saying is we need to be more compassionate and considerate of other people and their circumstances and situations in life. We're all dealt a different hand. We all live in different places. We all have different lifestyles and different tastes and different preferences and different priorities. And just because your priority is to avoid dairy doesn't mean that that's everyone else's agenda. The same way I have to remind myself all the time that it's not everyone's priority to consider their nutrition. So we all have our struggles. We just have to, consider that other people are going through different shit than us, and that's okay. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Lots of love.